Hi, welcome to Dog Fanatic. I'm your podcast host. And today we're doing the second section on Lucy. So the first picture that you see here is Lucy. And if you notice her coat, that this is the very first time that I groomed her. It's just kind of odd. She had been very malnutritioned, just to catch people up who haven't seen the first part. She'd been very malnutritioned, living in a small little kennel. Not a big wire kennel, but a small little, like, very kennel. And she had been eating her urine and drinking her urine and eating her feces. And luckily, sometimes she got even food. Now, this dog didn't stand, didn't walk when I first met her. I had to, she's got new adoptive parents, thank God. And they went to get her up at this place in northern Maine somewhere. They won't tell me where. And they had to pay $500 to go see the dogs and promise that they wouldn't talk about it or bring their phone in to show what it was like in there. And they felt so bad for her when they did go in there that they paid $3,000 to bring her home because they felt so terrible for her. And she stunk of urine and feces, and she's all discolored. You can see how dark her ears are there. And all she did was lay down. She plopped right down, like she had lead bags weighing her down wherever she went. So she'd try to take a step and she'd flop herself right down because that's what she'd been doing for the first 9 months of her life, 9, 10 months of her life. So now she's got these wonderful parents, and I'm helping them to work with her. And you can just look at her face. I mean, super depressed. At this point, she'd been living with her new parents for about a month. But then they realized that they really need to bring her to a groomer because she just smelled terrible, and they were a little older and they just couldn't get her as clean. So I've been working with them and her, and she's actually in the third visit today, and she's coming around. But it's a very, very slow process. It's very she hears anything, she just splats right on the ground, just like you see there. And she's just scared to death. She's scared of everything. It's just really super sad. So I've worked with her. The first time I just got her to stand. That was the big thing. The second visit that she was here, I took her for a walk afterwards. Got a little muddy, which wasn't great for right after grooming, but she had met some strangers. She had met men. She had met women. She allowed them to touch her, but every time she went up to somebody new, she'd plopped right down on the ground on the sidewalk. And kids, she likes kids a lot, so that was good. So now I'm working with her to hopefully get better. And I work with her every time I see her. I don't charge anything for it because she needs help. So anyway, the second picture that you see here, that is before her bath today. This is her third visit here. And I like to let them walk around and get the feel of the place, and she does it every time. Today, on a bright spot, when I got her out of the car, I took the leash on her, and she jumped right out of the car, and she would follow me in, and Mom was holding the leash at this point, and I would walk in front because she just tends to follow me. So I walked in front of her and I would call her, "Come here, Lucy, come on, come on." And so she would come walking towards me, but every time that she hesitated, she'd drop right to the ground. Unfortunately, I guess it gives her security, so she does that. And Mom's brought a toy for the car to try and get her in it easier. The problem with the car has been every time she gets put in it or she goes in it, she just diarrhea everywhere. And she's starting to come out of it. With the last visit, I was able to get her in the car. I suggest Mom sit in the back seat and just call her in. And it took a long time. In fact, Dad was going to pick up her butt to put her in. I said, "Oh, just wait a minute." And she slunk to the ground, but she kind of slithered, I guess is a good expression, she slithered into the car and crawled over to where her mom was sitting. So, her new mom. So that was progress because they didn't have to put her in. And as a huge plus, she didn't have diarrhea all over the car when she was done with grooming. So that was a really nice thing. and they said it was the first time that it hadn't happened. So baby steps. Just we have to look at baby steps. It's just a very sad situation with her, and we just have to go slow and enjoy all the tiny little bits of progress that she is making. And she's doing well. She's doing good. I mean, this picture here is when she first came into my shop, and she's up. She's standing, and that's a beautiful thing, because the first visit I had met her, her position was in a down position. She would not stand. And in the tub, the first two visits, she was down the whole time in the tub. She would not stand. So I had to pick her up. I got more wet, I believe, than she did. But you know what? It is what it is. You work with them and you take delight in the little baby steps that they make. So she's getting it slowly but surely. And very quiet voice, just make a game out of everything, and she will come along. So she's doing well. So that was her introduction in here. And then this next picture in the tub, she really did well. She did very, very well today. All I had to do was say up, because I've been using that to get her up. And I go up. And because happy noises, it's really important for dogs that have been through cane and back. And so after the tubby, I took the panel out of the side of the tub, and I encouraged her to jump out, because before she had been, she slopped herself down in the tub and she wouldn't stand. This time for drying and blowing her off briefly in the tub, she did stand. And I was afraid she might have a little bit of diarrhea, because, you never know what to expect right now as she's unlearning her past. And we're bringing her forward. We're not thinking about the past, but we're just looking at today baby steps. So I've seen a lot of good changes. So there was no diarrhea in the car, no diarrhea in the tub. She stood in the tub. She did try to sit down slowly a couple times, so I just tickled under her belly. And today what I did was I gave her 4 shampoos, because as you can still see, she's still a little bit discolored. The darker parts, especially under her neck. And that's not from saliva. She's not a drooler. I don't exactly know what's going on there, but I mean, it's coming. The other parts that were stained, are around her feet, and like a deer lays on her little wrists. Those were discolored. Her ears are discolored. That's not her natural color. It'll lighten up as time goes on. I did show Mom that when you part the hairs, that her color is changing. Mom's also had Luci on coconut oil since I first met her. So she's starting to feel a little bit better. One of the things that I've noticed is the shedding is way down because of the coconut oil. Today, there really was no shedding. And her coat, after the bath, I've noticed it doesn't feel like that thick, like urine soaked hair anymore. It's starting to feel a little bit better, and she's just doing better. But she's scared. She's super scared. She's scared of everything. So as I'm working with her, I don't use on a blower. You can take a nozzle off or leave a nozzle on. I tend to take the nozzle off. It takes longer to dry, but she doesn't need to be scared. So, and she's doing good with it. So, and because I want her to keep going forward and not backward, I'm not going to be pressuring her to do something that she doesn't feel comfortable doing. So she's on the floor. She's responding well. I dried her quite a bit while she was just laying down, because she's, of course, comfortable laying down. It seems to be her favorite spot. Hopefully she'll come out of that. And then I start trying to get her to stand and sit a little bit. And she kind of, as you can see by the next picture, she's kind of sinking slowly onto the floor. But I'm encouraging her to try to stand during drying. Her drawing is not her favorite thing, but she's got to get used to it. She's got a lifetime ahead of it. And the other thing about standing, laying down, and slinking into the floor like she does, when she does that, she's scared to death. And if you can get a dog to stand in a good way, you kind of pick them up by the belly and tickle her belly and tell her good girl. Because when she's standing on all fours, she's confident. When she slinks down, she's scared. And she's not just showing me that, but she feels that. And so if I can encourage her to stand while she's drawing, she's going to feel better herself. She's going to feel more confident. So that's one of the other reasons why I like to get them to stand when I'm working with them on drawing. The other thing I do is when I'm working with her in particular, there's a couple dogs here I do this with, but she's definitely one of them. Right now, she is not on the table. She doesn't need to be. I don't need to force her to be. There are other places that will not accept a dog into grooming if they do not stand and if they will not go on the table. Depending on each and everybody's individual past with dogs, sometimes it's better to go slower than rush everything. Because if I were to pick this dog up and put her on the table the very first time, she would be in such a panic, a high anxiety panic, and she would never, ever, ever like grooming. And right now, she's actually coming around. She's very scared. She's very nervous because there's things that she doesn't know, she doesn't understand, doesn't get it. So I'm working with her gradually. And if she wants to be on the floor, I'm good with that. If she feels more confident, until she can stand up, this is what I'm looking for. Until she can stand up the whole time while I am grooming her and she does it willingly, that I don't have to encourage her to do it, that would be the day, that the next day, the next time she would come in would be the time I would put her up on the table. And actually, I would just introduce her to it. I would put her on the table, and then I would take her off the table, and I would move it up and down while she's on the table. And then I would put it all the way down. And then I would sit on the table and encourage her to come up next to me and sit with me. And then I would groom her on the floor. So we would make a game of it. We would make a game of get up on the table, jump down on the floor, jump up on the table, jump down on the floor. Play a game. Always play a game, because that way they're not put here. They don't have to just accept it, but they are willing and they are in control of the situation. And that's the way it needs to be. All dogs need to feel that they're in control of a situation, because that way you have respect on both sides. So this next picture, I was working with her and I had just gotten her all done with grooming, and she's just taken a little break. She's still petrified. She's still nervous, but I'm giving her a break. And I was just about ready to scoop her paws out. So you take the hair out with clippers. I had not used clippers on her yet. This is her third visit. Everything is baby steps. So I used the clippers. I turned her feet and I scooped out her little feet, and she did really well with it. And then I cut her nails because, as you can see there, they're quite long. And then I also ground them today. So she's had a lot done today. Today was a big day for her. So when she goes home, she's going to be tired. You know what? And that's okay, because she's being such a big girl. Can you imagine what's going on in her head right now? How she feels, just totally confused. But she's doing very, very well. I'm very proud of her. So then after that, so after that, I was all done with her and I took the following picture. And she's nervous. You can see that the lead that I had around her neck, that's off. It's laying on her hip. It's just kind of dangling there. It's not. I was trying to get her to stand, and that's actually the first time that she stood up willingly during grooming. I didn't force her to stand up. She really isn't, if you can tell, she really isn't in a real standing position. She's kind of, this is what she does. She kind of pushes herself up a little bit, but doesn't stand up all the way. So and then she kind of moves squinched closer to the ground, if that's a good description. And that's just because she's just a nervous wreck. So, but I sometimes it's good for me not to do the work for them. Sometimes they need to do that work for themselves. So she was doing well because she stood on her own. So that's another baby step. And then I walked out and then I called her and she came running out like a little bullet close to the ground and threw herself next to the gate on the floor, which is fine. You know what? Even though she was running out kind of squinched over and tight to the floor, you can see her nails are all cut there in the next photo too. And she just did a great job. She didn't pull. I kind of wish she would, because that would show me that, she doesn't like something, but she's just super willing. She's just scared. Her soul is damaged, but it's coming along. She's coming along. So, and her coloring is changing. If you look from that very first picture of when she would not stand at all to the finished picture of where she is in the next scene, you can just see that the coat has changed so much. She's not brown all over. She's actually a lighter cream color, although there still are some darkened spots. And then after that, I walked. I was trying to call her out. I wanted to get her out from behind the gate, and she decided to run to behind the curtains and kind of poke her head out. But you know what? That was fine because she feels comfortable here. And I do dry her out back. So she ran out back and then she kind of stuck her head out, kind of peeking behind the curtain. And that's okay. She's got to do what she's got to do. And she's doing okay. It's a lot for her, this whole everything. So she's had really good signs. She's had great accomplishments today. She walking on a lead. I worked with her a little bit in here, gave mom and dad a slip lead because I prefer them. They're softer on your hands. The dog isn't going to slip out of the slip lead, but it will slip out of a collar. And she's just so petrified if she runs the wrong way. I don't want, a car hitting her or just getting lost by running because she doesn't know where to go. So she just runs wherever. I don't want that situation happening either. So for her own best interest, it's really best for her to have a slip lead. Some people balk at that, but honestly, they're a lot better and they loosen up easily and the dogs don't mind them at all and they don't choke. I don't care what people say. I think people put that in other people's heads, but and when she's on a lead, it feels good because it's a light touch and she just feels better with a slip lead than she would a harness, which is very constricting. So she's had actually a very good day. Yes, she's still nervous. Yes, she has a hard time trusting people. But what I saw today, she's willingly coming towards me. She's following me. She is very willing in the tub. She is standing in the tub. She's literally, I put her front feet in the tub and then she jumped up into it. It's not very high, but she did that herself. And then I put the gate down just so the water doesn't pour out. That would rot. And she did great today. She did that and the drawing. She wasn't yelping. She wasn't scrambling to get away. She accepted it, which is great. She wasn't yanking her feet away when she got her nails cut, her paws cleaned up, wasn't doing any of that. Her coloring is coming, her hair is growing. And I love that I can see the progress with the coconut oil and what that's doing for her. You can see I mean, the hair is when I finish drying, and then I put mink oil spray on them because it softens them up a lot, and it feels good. It's softer, um, and it's just really good for them. And the coconut oil and the mink oil spray both are great flea repellents as well. The mink oil spray only lasts, temporarily, but the coconut oil does help with it. Although I wouldn't just trust it for that. What I do like with that coconut oil, and I saw it today with her in particular, that she is a golden retriever, and I'm seeing it for myself because I wasn't sure with the long haired dogs, but this dog is not shedding. She had she had no hair. She had a couple snarls under her belly, which easily came out, and she was great for that. But there was no hair loss on this dog, and I brushed her and I looked for it, and there was no shedding hair. And this is May, May 1st. And her hair, there was no shedding at all. So the other thing I like about it is it builds the dog up from the inside out, and I can feel a difference with her coat. The first couple of times, first and second baths that she had, her hair, because she had been eating and drinking urine and feces, because sometimes that's all she had for food in the beginning, and living in it, basically lying in it and whatever. So that's why the vast change with the coat is now she's not doing that. So it's a very pretty cream coat, and it's not thick, full of like greasy, unhealthy hair. Her hair is finally feeling lighter. It's silky. Her coat is really silky, and there is absolutely no shedding. That's coconut oil. That's the beauty, one of the beautiful side effects of coconut oil. If you do not want hair in your house, she gets a teaspoon a day, and I can see huge changes with her, and I'm very happy for her. And she loves her mom and dad. I can see that. It's so nice. They both came in the shop for a little bit to talk afterwards, and they're doing great. I mean, this dog is finally, I mean, at first, the first couple days that I had her, first couple times, she was scared to death of her dad because I guess a male must have done something. I don't know if he was extremely loud where she used to live or if he did anything physically to her, but she was scared to death of her new dad. Now she'll literally go over to him. Unfortunately, he told me he had got her some ice cream, and she actually came over because now he's letting her do that. And that's what I do when I have dogs here is I let them come to me. I do not go to them and corner them because that's not a safe thing to do. A groomer can get bitten easily, and it happens a lot at corporate places because some dogs are nervous, feel threatened when cornered. So don't ever advance to a dog. You sit down and you let the dog come to you because that's the proper way to do it. I don't care what anybody says. So in this next picture, you can see I had her kind of running around a little bit and kind of playing hide and seek with her. But a couple of times she would run out back and kind of hide behind the wall, which is sad. But you know what? I called her and she finally poked her little nose out and she came running over to me. So she's coming along. That looks sad. It looks really sad. But she did pop over. She did come over to me and she was wagging her tail. I see a lot of good signs with Lucy. And every time that she comes in for a while, I'm going to add a video. And this one's going to be probably B. So I'm going to put it in right after her first video. But it would be nice if you guys can see the progress that she's making because she is seeing progress. I am seeing progress. And I like seeing the change. And she's doing well. She's doing really well. And her parents are doing great. So, yay, no diarrhea today. And she's walking. She's standing in the tub. She's walking on the leash still. She's good for mom. She's actually played with a toy that mom brought in. So, yeah, I'm seeing some good changes with her. Every once in a while, her scared inner child comes out, but eventually, I'm going to get her out of that. and she is a great dog. She does run around at home in the yard. She likes it outside. Her mom and dad have a fenced-in area, which is a very good idea, especially for her. But she's doing good. So thank you for joining Dog Fanatic and also for following the story of Lucy. I'm really hoping to see big and better changes, and I think that I will start seeing better, bigger changes probably her next visit and the visit after. That would be visit 4 and 5 for her. So, but she's doing great, and we should all be very proud of her and happy for her, and thank God for her parents for being the wonderful people that they are. Thank you for joining Dog Fanatic today. And please mention in comments anything that you might want me to talk about, or if you have any questions, any concerns, anything that you're thinking about, something your dog is going through, or something that you just want to know. Again, thank you for joining. Bye. And then you have yourself a great day.